Welcome to the Sold Too Early Sports Card Podcast, now available in 3D. That's not Kai. I'm CGI David. It's episode 53 of the Sold Too Early Podcast. We actually have a special guest today. Kai was unavailable. It happens, not a big deal. We have Brad, Outlaw Sports Cards. Brad, how the hell are you doing?
I've been, trying to get a spot on this show for a long time. I feel like, like such an honor to be here, talking to you.
Yeah, we have such an intense list, a really dedicated following. We've had to turn down some of the hobby goats across the universe and the cosmos even.
People are fighting to get on the show. I mean, look, I even had to wear a t-shirt to get on the show.
Yes, that is very true. Of course, I made you order a Sold Too Early shirt, which is now available. I did put my shirt.
I did pay for my shirt, by the way.
I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that. I actually got one ordered too. I'll be wearing these at shows now. What's funny also, speaking of that, is the first of like the shirts I made, which is my DMs be like, best comps, trade, all the other funny shit that I mentioned before is available. I was trying to give one of these away to someone in the comments last episode. They didn't want it, which is their loss. I think they're fun. I'm going to be making more of these as ideas come up. And
are you going to hurt anybody's feelings? Are you going to try to?
Yeah, I definitely can hurt people's feelings, and I'm probably going to. Like, it is what it is.
I hope so.
Yeah, this podcast it's not the most analytical. We're not the most intelligent people. I'm sure you figured that out at this point.
Right.
What I really want this podcast to always be, and what's probably going to always being, is, hey, I want to go have a beer with those guys. They seem like they know what they're doing. They really are in love with this industry. Like, we are not the most technical. We're not the most intelligent. We're shit posters who are willing to call it what it is.
I love talking shit. So this is great,
Oh, dude, yeah. And you were texting me before this, like, hey, is there anything I can't say? Is there a filter? I'm like, no. Just don't get me in trouble.
I can't get myself in trouble. I have a real world profession.
Yeah, no, that's you act. Yeah, I don't need to be responsible.
This is my part-time job. This is just a fun thing.
Well, what's interesting is I don't want you to lose your job. Kai actually basically got his job through the podcast because Joku, his business partner, was on 6-8 months ago, whatever it was. I was like, hey, I'm looking for someone to work with. Like, I want to grow this empire of sports cards. And Kai, who had recently graduated college, and they connected and it worked out. And they've done very well together. So that was an exciting thing. One person has gained a job. Please don't lose your job for this podcast.
No, I won't.
If you do, though, make sure it's in spectacular fashion.
Oh, yes.
So we get the views.
Yes, I 100% will not lose my job for a podcast. But it would be okay, though, to one day have like a job in the full-time arena in the industry. I mean, that would be like, I don't know, that would be kind of fun, especially if you didn't need the money, right?
It would be interesting. I mean, I actually was, I went through 2 rounds of interviews with Alt for their social media gig. They're not moving forward with me, which is fine. I mean, I honestly think it was more about the financial side than anything else.
Oh, you're too expensive, probably.
My ask was their ceiling, and I wanted more than what they were offering. But fine, you know what? I love Alt. Their service is great. I really have a lot of positive things to say about multiple organizations within this hobby. Some are not the greatest, but I think that's more of just accepting that auction houses are businesses and they don't really care about the consumer at the end of the day. They care about obviously lining their pockets, which, in a down economy and down market, when you're running the same cards every month, every 6 weeks, every 2 months, yeah, the house always wins, which is what they're trying to do. They're very financially successful, but you're crushing people because how many Tom Brady contenders autos are available? How many LeBron James limited logos, Kobe's, MJ's, whatever else? It kills the market when, maybe 0.1% of people even can afford a $25,000 card, and it just keeps trying to get auctioned.
Yeah, but it's hard though. I mean, think about I used to be a really fat dude. It's like, how do you tell someone to stop going to Burger King when it's driving down the street? It's as long as the doors are open at these places and people think they can get money, the business they're gonna keep taking the money. It's hard to stop.
I'm not blaming a PWCC, a Golden, a Leland's, anything else. I don't blame those organizations at all. I mean, it sucks that their end margins come from consumers who are willing to constantly send items in for auction, willing to sell, willing to cut their losses. Maybe they have to run a card at auction because they bought something they shouldn't have. But it really kind of amplifies when a market is trending downward anyway. The fact that cards are not even rare, they're just expensive.
Expensive. That's a good word. I'd call it expensive. Cards are just expensive.
I I really have not been like impressed by a card where it's like, oh man, this is so sick. I need to have it. I mean, a one of one is different, but when it's a card that is not readily available, but does come up for auction several times a year, it's like, oh, that's cool. Not gonna buy it because
I
I'll see it
stopped
again
even watching the
soon.
auctions because I get like nauseated at times dealing with it. I don't even look. I just kind of like, you know, it's too much for me to even fathom looking at the backwards comps on these cards. And that game, people are playing with fire. That's danger. That's a dangerous, dangerous game people play when they start getting involved with those big cards and running them at auction like that. It's scary. Not my game.
I mean, some of them don't have a choice. Some of them are over leveraged. It's an interesting time we're in, especially towards the end of the year. I think a lot of people now will take their foot off the gas if they haven't already. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I wasn't buying for the last couple of weeks, and in the last 24 hours, I dropped 25K on items for Dallas,
Right.
and I guess Chicago right after that, 'cause it's 2 weeks later. I'm probably gonna be done buying for the year after these shows. I'll continue making sales and trades and whatever else, but like you have Christmas coming up, you have New Year's. I think the first major show of 2024 that I'm gonna be heading to is like in either February or even March.
You go all over
Like
the place. You're crazy though.
I know, but the difference is that like there is no matter what, there was going to be a pause anyway in like the buying and everything else for the holiday season. I guarantee you right now people are starting to look at their bank accounts and be like, oh shit, I need to go buy
Those
X,
bills are
Y, and
coming.
Z.
Rates are higher. It costs more money now. Everything's expensive.
Yeah. I mean, not you're absolutely everything's more expensive, and this is a luxury hobby.
Big time.
It's kind of
It's going back to
scary.
being a big boys hobby again. You know, like the kids are able to flip cards, but now it's really like if you can't afford it now, this is really back to you got to be able to afford the cards you're putting in your pocket, and cards are trading at true values. So I mean, it's really it's tough. Tough for people who have never seen it before, right? That's for sure.
I've never seen it quite like this. I mean, thankfully, I've been in sports cards now, at least on a business side, since 2015, 2016. I only saw prices really spike, especially as interest started to grow. Into 2020 times, like I would kill to have that experience again. But I also know, as the collector, quote unquote, inside of me, if it all went to shit, I would be okay
Yeah, me
because
too.
I would just buy stuff I liked.
Yeah, I'm cool
And
with that. If you told me right now, Brad, everything's worthless, you got to take a match to it, like legit. Okay, go ahead. I mean, yeah, it's money, but like you can make more
you
money
always
in
make more money. Yeah.
cardboard.
I mean, that's part of the reason why, and Kai and I were having this conversation last week. I like game worn jerseys. Like, it's just more fun to me. Like, if I'm going to have an item that I'm not going to want to really move or sell or trade or like really not make available, I'd rather go buy a full jersey, hopefully autographed, of a player that I liked or like was interested in or thought that jersey looked cool, and spend a fifth of the price, a sixth of the price compared to what I would for like a sticker auto or a player worn patch auto. Like, to me, sticker autos in general have no fucking value,
None.
especially if it's player worn.
But we all
Like,
learned that though, didn't we? We learned that the hard way, even if we still participate. If the right sticker auto walked up to you at the right price, we're
of
still going
course,
to
of
buy
course.
it. So,
You-
it's the same thing. If someone tells you stickers are bad, player worn is bad, all these things are not licensed is bad, but then the price walks up to your table at 0.6 and 0.65, and you could turn that in your case, you're going to say, I don't care about the sticker. I don't care. It's player. I don't care.
my personal opinion on sports and sports cards is vastly different than what I buy, because I also understand that my opinion as a 27-year-old who is a quasi collector, mostly in it for the business, but like is willing to be honest about it, is different than what I showcase and what I have available.
Right.
Like I just said right before this call, I spent 25K on inventory for the show. I don't intend on holding it. I would like to move it. If I make money, awesome. I'm not exactly sure, Brad, all the items I bought. Like,
Me either.
these are people who I am friends with. These are people who have continued to do good business with me. I will continue to spend money with them. It has been financially beneficial to both of us, or the three of us, I should say, in that instance, because it was two different deals. They will continue to earn my money. I'll continue to generate income from that, and we'll move on and do bigger and better things. Do I know what's in the lots? All of them? Not necessarily. I have prices, thankfully, because, hey, I know an organized way of doing this. But if you ask me, gun to my head, name 10 cards I bought in the last 24 hours, I probably could tell you, but like it'd be a little bit of a struggle.
I probably can, only because like I am still a big time nerd with the cards. Like that's the part of me. As much as I love buying them and selling them, I still look at the cards and still like a kid look at them and go, like, I've never seen this before. Or I don't know. I mean, I'm still like a little kid about it, but I'm also a lot older than you and have gone through the cycle where, you know, it's not even about the money anymore. Now you do it because you really, 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 really love it. Because
Well, that's the wonderful thing too, is because like you said, you are a little bit an older gentleman. Like you have this experience, you have this knowledge.
please, I'm not a gentleman. That's the last thing you should
Come
call me.
on, I gotta be
Asshole
nice.
works more appropriate here. If this is not a family show, asshole's good. I'll take that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit too. All right, good point. Glad we got there. But you still have a lot of knowledge to share with people, and a lot of people don't have the access to, honestly, the decades of experience that you have had. You got into cards. I think you've talked about this a couple times on podcast before. Like you were like a little kid, you were flipping cards, you were loving it. And that's, 70, 80 years of experience, of course. So
right. I'm only 94 now.
Yeah. You're great. You're great for 71.
I'm trying to have another baby, but
Yeah. You have a lot of experience. And I think as someone who has been able to really truly live it and seen the peaks and valleys of sports cards, what do you truly think about this time we're in? Obviously, people are a little bit afraid. Obviously, you're seeing cycles continue to trend downward for cards. You and I both agree that shit is not even rare. It's just expensive. Like, what do you truly think about all of this right now?
I mean, it's obviously, whether you like Fanatics or Panini, whatever's going on, I think that is probably going to point us in a better direction, because I think you're going to learn very quickly. Well, the stuff they're putting out, the dollar signs are not going to be there for people. I think the rarity, the scarcity, all those things. So I definitely feel like this whole merger thing, even though it's not really I don't really care too much about it. I think that will help us with the rarity and scarcity things. People will look back. But I think like short term, I think if you're trying to make a living out of this and you don't have, a job, like a real job, this would not be a great place to try to be. I think their losses are going to mount the next 6 months for people that are buying incorrectly. The problem is people just, they think there's money to be made so easily, and that those days are gone. And you can flip because you get lucky. But you and I both know, the margins aren't there like they used to be. Tighter margins, and money is going to rule. We're going to squeeze a lot of people out of the hobby, I think, right now that are just going to get caught. But I think it's going to push us in a direction where I like that people are going to look and say, hey, like Mickey Mantle should be bought now because there's real dollar signs there. Satchel Paige should be bought now because there's real dollar signs there, not this stuff that's overproduced. And I say this all the time, the hobby has to learn. The people that don't know, inexperienced, they'll learn. You put dollar signs in front of it. If you can buy a Mickey Mantle card and flip it, don't tell me a 13-year-old kid doesn't know who Babe Ruth is. You know what? When you tell them they can buy the card and make money on it, they're going to learn all about Babe Ruth. And then every kid and every new person in the hobby is going to learn about Babe Ruth. So I think these flows that are negative will help us in the long run. They have to happen, because this is not the last few years of stuff is, the money that we were all making in cards is dumb. It's dumb. Dumb.
No, you're absolutely right.
I'm happy I got a part of it, but it's dumb. It was dumb.
I wish I got more. Obviously everyone thinks when the good times are going, they'll never end. When the bad times seem to come up, you hope they, end instantaneously. I actually saw something. I don't know if it was Facebook. It might have been on Twitter. I don't think it was Instagram. It was someone who had bought $5,000 worth of Justin Fields stuff and got absolutely fucking burnt on it. And was like, this is why I'm leaving the hobby. Like, I spent $5,000 and like, this is what I have for it.
Yeah, like, why would you do? But like, that's blame the hobby. That's like walking into this casino and putting all your money in the slot machine and expecting to win and getting mad at the casino when you lose. That's just dumb. And there's you know what? The sad thing is, you and I both know there's one of those folks every hour on the hour that are leaving, and there's 10 more that are coming in. And that's okay, because we need more people in the hobby. They got to learn the lesson, Dave. The lessons that we teach people, like on here, if they're not listening, this is free advice. Yeah. Free advice. Don't open boxes. Don't get in. Listen, breaking for fun. I get it. I like to have fun.
Spend what you want to lose.
But don't break because you want to make money. You're not going to break and open. You're not going to do it. Listen to the people out there. There's so many ways to make money. Just people want to flush and then blame everybody else. You know what? How about do a little research, do a little homework, when you realize that you got burnt buying Justin Fields, maybe you won't buy,
Questionable quarterbacks with arm talent. Yeah.
I bought a Grady Dick auto the other day because I thought the dude was cool at an interview. But like, I didn't buy a Grady Dick auto because I thought I was going to make $5,000 on it when he makes a triple double in the 17th game of his career.
Now, that's the thing, though, is that theoretically he would double or go 30% if he had a triple double.
That game's over. You and I both know, though. And if you're not ready at the helm, and then once, it's just that game is. I think that game is played. The flippering is there. It's always going to be there. The margins are tighter. And when margins are gone, people move on.
Yeah. Listen, I know no matter what financially, I would be in this hobby, in this industry, because I love it. I truly do. I can't say that for a lot of people, though, especially in the high-end world. If everything went down 30%, 40% overnight, I think a lot of people would panic. I think a lot of people would not be able to pay their rent.
Agreed.
And I think there'd be a lot of fear that would come in. I mean, obviously, if something dropped 30% overnight, huge issue. But what I mean by that is I'm not sure people would stay within this industry or this hobby.
No.
Especially in that high-end world. And Brad, I've said this a couple of times. I will really stand by it. I don't really think a lot of high-end collectors actually like each other. And it's really interesting to me because when you look at it from a financial sense, in order to win, someone else has to lose. And people who put the finances first, I really don't think like each other unless you're constantly winning over that other person. And if you're winning over that person X, Y, and Z, and A, and 5, 6, 7, 8 times, eventually that person will wise up and be like, wait, why am I dealing with this person so often? What is happening here?
My wife says it all the time. I steal her quote. She says, it's always about the man with the most toys before he dies wins. And that's her words. The man with the most toys before they die wins. And that's the same thing with cards. It's like the high-end card, it's look what I have. It's look what I got. And I think imagine pulling up at the mall, around here, the Short Hills Mall, and the people next, one after the other, nicer car, nicer handbag, nicer. Why is the card market any different in that world? I mean, if you're walking around with $20,000 cards, people love to look at my cards. And they're never for sale, and you would never actually buy them from them, and they couldn't even sell them to you for a price that would make sense. They just a game. It's like a watch, jewelry, car.
It's very interesting to me too because a lot of people gravitate to those who have a lot of money and a lot of fancy cards. Which makes a lot of sense. It's a status thing. I don't fucking care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Like, all right, cool. You have a LeBron RPA. Did you play in the NBA? Were you teammates with LeBron? Oh, you just have a lot of money. All right.
And you know what's funny too? Because I believe now it's different. When I was back in the day, even back in the day, 7 years ago, you'd buy these cards because you believed in the future value of the card, right?
Yes.
I believed that I could buy this card and make money on it as an investment, but I don't believe like that exists with modern stuff, right? And I'm talking like, I don't know where to draw the line. But to me, if you watch what I buy, it's pretty much anything like early 2000s and earlier. And we're talking like numbered inserts, color. I just don't believe in anything really current, modern, anything after like 2002, 2003,
I don't disagree with you. We're in a little bit of a different, obviously, like age range gap, like collector we talk to on a day-to-day basis. Like I love variety. I love to have a little bit of everything. I have a random magic card on my desk. It's quite nice. Let me see if it's still here.
I love variety. I love all different stuff. But for if you told me like sit on something or you had to put it in your showcase, like, I hate when I have to put these modern. What is that?
So I have a 1966 Venezuela Topps.
Oh, I saw this. You put it on Instagram.
Fergie Jenkins auto, PSA 310. PSA 310 auto grade. None of these exist.
No, those are very rare cards.
Quite literally, there is no PSA qualifier. I think that means either off center or maybe the auto grade. I'm not exactly.
Qualifier would be MC or one of those like the MK.
There are 3 of these in the PSA 3, 2 higher. I'm not sure how many exist that are autographed. Why the fuck do I own this?
That's a crazy card to own. By the way, without the auto itself, those cards are really, really hard to find.
Exactly. But like when I say I have variety, I have literally everything from a 66 Topps, Venezuela, Fergie Jenkins auto to a Kenny Pickett Select Gold RPA PSA 8 that I just bought yesterday. What the fuck? Why do I have so much variety?
I would actually ask you why you own a Kenny Pickett card at all, because that seems like not a David or a CGI David card to own.
I got a good price. So you mentioned,
so so why are we going to stop buying Kenny Pickett RPAs and stickers and stuff? Because the right price. I'm doing the same thing, but personally, I do show some restraint on modern stuff. If it walks up to my table or I have an opportunity to buy it, I pretty much hard pass unless I know like exactly what I'm buying. Like the most modern stuff I bought recently was like a Sean Taylor downtown because I know who he is. I know what a downtown is, but I don't know. Like, you can walk up to me with the coolest Desmond Ritter patches. I know who he is, but like, I don't have the patience anymore. Honestly, I feel like it's changing diapers again, dealing with this stuff.
I wouldn't say it's changing diapers per se. I would more say when I get inventory in, my first thought is, oh, I got to move this, or I want to move this. It's not, oh, if I wait 3 months, I can hold this and I'll do fine. That mentality has really changed.
Yeah, mine too. But this is more fun, by the way. I've been the happiest and most fun. I think you said this to me the other day. This is the happiest I've ever been because, like, I kind of like the buying and the selling of it. But this is a personal thing. That's not a business thing. I mean, probably I'm only making money because we have the buying power to buy correctly, and I can't say that for most people, which is, I think, why we're maybe slightly performing better than the average, right?
I mean, I would say we're performing well above the average because I think
I'm trying to be humble.
Let's be realistic. I think we're both performing at high levels of performance compared to the average, even the above average card collector these days. Because first off, you and I are not afraid. I have no fear in my heart anymore when it comes to sports cards or losing money because I know the majority of times when I make a deal, I will make money. I will be financially successful. And that card will hopefully end up in a collection where, hey, they're going to appreciate a card that quite literally might never be seen again. Or, hey, they believe in Kenny Pickett because they're a Steelers fan. Right. I have no fear. If I lose because it's my own fault. Right. I will at least give it a chance.
I agree.
I give it a chance every single time.
I'm not scared. I remember the time I first stopped being scared, and some of my friends that are listening will know the stories. I stayed up all night bidding on an auction for a Michael Jordan PSA 8. It was back in 2000. I don't know. I have to check the card. I paid $1,600 for it at auction. It had to be 2017. Mm-hmm. I was sweating bullets all night. I won the auction. I paid the highest price on that card at the time. New high comp on the card. I'd never spent that kind of money in a card, even though I've been collecting for all these years. And I own cards of that value through growth, not through purchase. I didn't sleep that night over a $1,600 card. Now, if you walked up to me with a $1,600 card, like how many people, and even a 12-year-old, they're not batting eyes anymore.
No, it's scary. And that is 2 weeks of pay at like a pretty good job.
Yeah. But now I'm not scared. Now I know, like, somebody walks up to me with a $60,000 card. If the price is right, you can buy it.
Dude, I had an emergency fund for cards just in case that exact situation played out. It's like, oh, this is a $50,000 card. You want 30?
Okay. So your fiance is very trusting in you. My wife has built up this trust in me over, I got to get this right because she might listen to this, 22 years of marriage. So I've earned the ability to take risks and lose and not get put on the couch for a couple nights. I don't know if you're there yet. I don't know your person.
No. So Casey, my fiance, is probably the most understanding person ever, which is.
But if you lost $25,000 tomorrow, would she be understanding?
I spent $25,000 yesterday or today.
If you told her it was all gone tomorrow, like you sold the cards are worthless, burnt up.
I think she'd be worried, but I also know that I have never put more than
you can afford. Okay. Fair, smart.
Maybe, I don't know how much I have in cards. Maybe between 30 and 40% of my total net worth right now is in cards. The other 60 to 70% is crypto, stocks, cash.
It's funny that you said that too, because I tell you, when I do shows in the bigger shows, I tell people all the time when I actually have normal conversations, I tell them when you make a profit on a card, like put it into something else. I don't care if you put it into a car or a house or, a brokerage account, an investment, and a stock. It doesn't matter. Even if it's $100, just put it into something that is not card related, because I promise you, there's a good chance that $100 in 10 years from now will be worth more than the card you just bought or sold. And I try to just teach the young folks, because you could do it yourself on the phone, right? I mean, $25 into if I just sold a card right now, made $2,000, I would take $100 or $200 and shove it into an account for stock and just ETF and leave it there.
Kai, I hope you're listening to the podcast this time, because you and I had this exact same conversation in Dallas. So I hope Kai's listening.
Kai, I hope you're listening. I mean, I don't, what I do for a living, talk too much about it with the card world. I don't mix it too much, but I am a firm believer that, diversification is key. And telling me you have 5 different cards in different sports is not diversification. That's like having a lot of different cards still. Diversification would be having cards. And I'm an anti-crypto guy, so I can't put that in my allocation. But
love it so much.
Stocks, ETFs, some cash, whatever else you believe in, cards should be a piece of that. But you got to take this should be extra. This card money should be like, hey, I've made so much money in cards, I'm going to pay cash for my wedding, or I'm going to pay if I'm not doing it full time. But man, that's tough.
It's so interesting. I mean, that's part of why I do get told a lot I do cards full time, and I understand that. It's very true. I fully have understood that, and it might happen one day. I don't know, but I like knowing that if I burnt 10K in losses somehow, or 20K, I could still afford rent and like not put my fiance through. Yeah, exactly. And I could realistically do 60 to 75% of what someone does full time, in my spare time. The only difference is not doing Whatnot streams, or playing on Discord for 8 hours a day, which I know that you actually are more involved on Whatnot and even Discord than I am right now, which is really interesting. What are your thoughts?
Whatnot, again, I don't like to share too many things, but I don't sell on Whatnot. I do like to buy. I'll give you all the secrets. Whatnot is the same thing as a card show. It's just, you got to put in the time. Listen, there's guys out there selling 50-cent cards and $2 mags, right? And there's guys out there that are breaking and gals that are, talking real nice, and it's whatever. But there's also a lot of people that don't have outlets to sell cards. And there's a lot of people who don't have card shows every weekend and 4 of them around them. And there's also a lot of people, and I don't feel bad for people. If you go on Whatnot or you go to a card show and you put your cards out for sale and you don't know what you're selling, and you price cards because you don't know incorrectly, not because you were taken advantage of or somebody weird comped you. If you put a $100 card out with a price tag of $10, you don't know, and someone buys it, that's your fault. But guess what? They're all over Whatnot. They're all over Whatnot. It's all over Whatnot.
It's so crazy. I mean, you're absolutely right, because from what I understand, and it could have changed, Whatnot is an auction house, basically. And if the card runs for 2 minutes and it's worth $500, but there's 8 people in the live and it goes for $275, to honor that price, right? Like, that has not changed.
It's a little bit of both. Some people do like auctions, some people do like live just sales, and they do like a card show, like a table setup. There's all different things. But what I found is a lot of people who are like the dollar boxes you and I would go through, or patch autos people buy. They're showing them to you, and you're getting them at prices because sometimes they're just throwing stuff out. They're making bundle deals. I mean, it's hard, it's work, and you got to be able to go into a room and ask people and make conversation. But it's the same thing. You can make a relationship with somebody through the keyboard, friendly enough where you can make an offer, not insult them, and they might actually entertain it. And you know what? There's also a lot of people that are not educated on there, and it's not a good thing. But they're gonna have to learn the hard way. We all started in something that we made mistakes selling things or buying things that we shouldn't have. Well, if you're gonna go on Whatnot and put a card up for sale for $1 and it's worth $50, and you don't know that,
don't do it again.
Don't do it again. But guess what? There's a whole lot of outlaw sports cards people, not just me, that are out there that are floating around and finding these people. But everyone wants to go to, listen, it's a shiny, flashy thing. Everyone wants to go to these guys that break, have 500 people in the room and thousands of dollars breaking. Go in the room with 3 people in it.
Yeah.
2 people.
To make more money.
Cheap. Discord, I'm just getting the hang of that right now. It's the low balling stuff behind the scenes is insane. So one of my friends gets mad about it, like straight, like mad, sends me like Marco Polo's angry. I find it humorous. If you actually think that I'm dumb enough to take your 40% offer on a card, like, why are you wasting your time? But I'm not also the jerk off that's going to tell you, go fuck yourself. I'll be like, hey, thanks for the offer. I can't do that. Have a nice day. How hard is it to do that?
I'm guilty of being a little rude to people. I mean, I can admit it, and that's better than lying. Yeah, I know. I mean, how long have you been on Instagram for? You've been on for a while. But not...
Instagram, yes. I try not to do any internet deals. So just, scammy stuff, and I don't like to do that anymore.
In person, I'm shockingly polite. I don't know why. I trick people into think I'm nice. But online, I've been on Instagram for Instagram like 7 or 8 years, and I will admit it has worn down my patience a little bit. I'm pretty direct as it is.
Yeah.
And I could be better, and that's something I will work on and improve on. But there is something to it where you think I'm a fucking idiot. I can't check eBay or Card Ladder or Alt or Terapeak or any of these tools, and you think that I got here by accepting 60% offers. No, I'm not this dumb. Come on, like don't.
Right. But it's funny though, if you wanted to buy stuff at 60%, don't insult me and offer me 120 for my $200 comped card. How about,
Yeah,
hey, how you doing? My name's Dave. I'm interested in your card. I'd be interested in working a deal. Would you look at maybe doing 120? Hey, you know what, Dave? Thanks for the offer. 120 is a little too late for me, but I might do 180. And then now we have a conversation.
it's thank you. We had this conversation last week. The ability to have basic communication at the very minimum goes from, hey, you're offering me 60% comps, no fucking shot, to, all right, yeah, listen, you're actually a human being. I can't do 120. Meet me at 160.
Right.
Impossible.
And now, and I tell this on every show I talk to, any show I go to, anywhere I talk, I say to people, it's always about the relationship, and you could do it through a keyboard.
Like, yeah, it's probably easier, honestly.
So let's go blame Justin Fields, and let's go blame the card market. Let's go blame Panini. That's my fault. That's your fault. How about, like, come to my table and come talk to me. And I'm not going to sell you my stuff at 70%. I'm not going to sell you stuff at 75% at my table if you come to my show. But if you come up and have a conversation with me and you're actually half decent person, and I feel like that, like, hey, maybe we can have a longer term relationship than a transaction.
Yep.
Because that's my real business world, is beyond the transaction. So I think the same thing here. So, hey, now you and I have done multiple transactions. We talk all the time in the card world, and I'm very comfortable even winning or losing with you because I know we're always going to do fair dealings together. Off of one interaction, we met the first time, but now, you come talk to me. Maybe I'll let you have my card for $10 less, for 170, because you might go tell somebody else, go check that guy out. Go talk to him. And in this hobby, all these people on Instagram and YouTube, they don't have like the moral code to me, the ethic code, or the work ethic. So to me, that's all I have. That's all I have. I can say something on here, but I know I will stand behind it. I will not intentionally try to F anybody on a card. If it's damaged or something, just come talk to me. I don't want to screw you. I want to make a couple bucks myself and buy something cooler. That's it, man.
I think you touched on a lot of key points there. The relationship building part is probably the number one thing I would tell to someone who was getting into cards for the first time, other than, hey, maybe don't join group breaks or open boxes, or like don't fall for scams, would be build decent relationships. I'm not telling you to be Mr. Perfect and like have these sterling relationships where you give people 60% comps on deals and like pray they're nice to you, but like be a human being, have conversations. Even if you're just like casually trying to like learn about cards or like make a decent deal with someone. Dude, at every major show I go to, Dallas, Chicago, Burbank, whatever else, a lot of people know who I am now, not only because, oh, I'm Instagram famous, I have 20,000 followers, I'm so fucking cool. No, I'm pretty fair. I'm around pretty often. People see me doing business. People see me doing good business. I'm obviously not screwing anyone over. They're like, he seems like a decent person. And I'll say hi to everyone who walks by the table. Hey, if you have any questions, man, just let me know. I'm happy to help. And that's really all you need to start with.
That's right.
And then people immediately, like, not even quote unquote let their guard down, but like, oh, he's a person. He'll talk to me. And I have very graciously like provided free information. Once again, free insightful information to anyone who fucking asks or wants to learn something, because not a piece of shit. And you might come back to the show in 6 months. If you go to Dallas, dude, I now have my spot in Dallas on the front wall. Hopefully indefinitely. It's in my name now. And anyone who goes to that show who sees me there, I'd be like, oh wait, I didn't make a deal with you last time, but you were friendly to me. You were nice to me. Let me see what you have now. And maybe we'll make a deal happen. And I can't tell you the numbers out of it, but I can tell you that I can't tell you the financials, like the numbers like of sales made because I'm a decent person. I can tell you that probably 80%, 85% of my deals now are repeat customers.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's relationship building.
But that's the basic concept with anything in life. I mean, would you go to your local pizzeria if it's a little, you like the people that own it, you like the waitress, the waiter, but maybe it's a little less quality, maybe it's $1 more, but you like them.
Yep. Like you want them in the same business.
You go to the places you like, and that's just human nature. You do things with people, your friends, and I don't understand. Like, people try to do business in any business you try to run. I don't care what business you're trying to run. There's still the basic concept. You still need people. You have to run a business that in most ways involves people, interaction with people in some form, even through a computer. Someone has to give you something of theirs.
Yes.
And you're going to want something from them. A lot of people, I say, like, I used to run a volunteer organization, youth sports, the best thing I ever did in my life, non-paid job, all volunteer work.
Awesome.
And I would tell people all the time, you know how many people want to volunteer? All of them. You know why they don't volunteer? Because no one ever taps them on the shoulder and says, hey, we want you to volunteer. Right? It's the same thing here, man. Sometimes people just got to like give them a little push, help raise their hand.
It's shocking that this is like information that people need to hear, but like, yeah, be a decent person and you'll get farther.
Wow, right? Who would think? Like, what my grandfather told me about actually having to like, meet people on the street corner and talk to them. And like, like imagine now if like your kid got into a fight in the backyard these days. I mean, it's going to be in the national news. I don't know. And I'm not all for that stuff, but man, you still got to talk to people. And my kids, I have 3 kids. They're all college age. I'm teaching them every day too. Like, if you want to get ahead in life.
Do your kids know how to talk to other people or no?
One is really good. One is like, honestly, she went to Rutgers and she's phenomenally like 1,000,000 times better. And my son, who, is just him too. It's just a maturity thing, but it's not easy. And I tell him at the end of the day, you want to get a job. No one's going to hire you. I don't care how smart you are. If you can't interact to go get a job, you're not going to get the job unless you want to be the garbage man. And that's fine too. But no one's raising their hand saying, I want to be a garbage man.
Make good money. They get amazing benefits too.
They do. But no one actually wakes up in the morning and says, I want to do that for a living. No one actually said, maybe somebody does. I don't know, but it's not to insult them.
I don't know.
I guess I would do it. I don't know. But you understand. It's just, you still got to interact with people. You still have to deal with people. And especially in this hobby, if you can't do it, just honestly, take a fucking hike. Take a hike. Find something else.
No, they're all going to come back into this industry because it's so crazy to me, especially once again, as you get into this higher end world, the people who actually know sports, like the percentage gets smaller. The more money you have, it seems like the less you know about sports, or you have let your finances become intertwined with your business sense in the sports world, and you're a fucking idiot.
That happens. I think, and even in my sense too, I can admit to that. Because like, if you ask me about modern players, I couldn't tell you.
But you're not buying modern players. That's the thing. When
you're completely ignorant to it.
That's fine, but you're choosing to be. You're not spending your money on it.
No.
If you're spending 20 grand on Brock Purdy or 15 grand on Brock Purdy, and you are saying that he is the best quarterback in the NFL, he's going to lead the 49ers to a Super Bowl and all these other things. First off, you're objectively just wrong. You're clowning yourself as a football fan. And secondly, you are obviously getting your financial sense mixed up with your sports sense, and you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
By the way, I wonder if those people, how much their financial sense got hurt last night when they lost and he looked like shit.
I like Brock Purdy. I like his story. I like the player. I like everything about him. I would not buy his cards for the next couple of years, only because I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. But I love the story. I love last season where like guy who literally came out of nowhere, third string quarterback. The first 2 quarterbacks get hurt. He comes in, beats Tom Brady in his first career start. Like, I really love.
It's a great story.
It's a phenomenal story. I would have loved for him to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm a Giants fan. I would have loved for him to win anyway, because it just would have been like some Hollywood bullshit Cinderella thing you never fucking believe, but you see it happen in real life. And I, as a fan of football, wish him the best, because the Giants suck dick and they're not doing anything this year. It doesn't matter. So I might as well vicariously be like, oh, let me root for that underdog.
You're a Giants fan. I'm a Jets fan. Are we going to wager on the game before the show's over? Because I'm a Jets fan.
We could just drink and be miserable because we're both screwed.
That game could end like 9-7 or something. Really.
I think the game should just be forfeited. Like, both teams should just take the loss, and I'd be okay with that.
The Jet, listen, this is actually a very important game for the JETS. If they win this game, people might actually start to talk a little bit. We'll see.
That's not saying much, though.
I know. Listen, you got to give me hope, brother. I'm a Jets fan. We suffer. We suffer.
I'm fortunate enough to have seen the Giants win 2 Super Bowls in my life. I don't think I'll see a third based on how this team continues to run and the fact that he gave Daniel Jones $40 million. And
that move right there is always the quarterback money, which the Jets have done over and over and over and over, and they don't pan out. Is just, man, when you give out these big contracts to dudes and they don't pan, it just hurts your team for a long, long time at that spot. Just bad.
Daniel Jones might be worse than Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, it might be your starting quarterback for the rest of the year.
I don't know if I hate it because I don't think Daniel Jones is good. And you can blame a lot of things, offensive line, play calling, weapons, which is all valid. But at the end of the day, the NFL is a QB-driven league, and Daniel Jones is just not the guy.
And why I don't buy sports cards of modern quarterbacks anymore, because you know what? And I learned this with hockey. Everyone says they're the next Wayne Gretzky. Connor McDavid, I believe in him, but he still hasn't won anything. And now everyone says they're the next Connor McDavid. Okay. I'll buy their card when they're Connor McDavid. So I'm not buying any quarterbacks until they do.
Well, that's the funny thing, too, is that, and I'm not a hockey person at all, but even I'm not stupid. How much do Ovechkin Young Guns sell for? Or Sidney Crosby? I'm sure they have value, right?
They're big money. Thousands.
But that's it's thousands. It's not tens of thousands.
No. They have cards that are tens of thousands, but if you said to me, Brad, I got to buy a hockey card, who am I buying? I'm telling you, those might be two of the top 3 cards I would tell people. Young Gun PSA 10 of a Crosby and Ovechkin. And by the way, from off subject, still too stupid undervalued. I don't know what card letter says about that. I don't read that stuff all the time, but Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, Young Gun PSA 10s are probably 2 of the dumbest underrated cards in the hobby. But Young Guns in general.
But that's the conversation too. And how many players, and you don't have to give me an exact number. It could be a half dozen, a dozen, whatever. How many young players who are under the age of 25, let's say, outsell Crosby and Ovechkin?
Probably a lot of them, I would think, maybe. Just from because they're $3, they're $10. And most of these, but at least with a young gun, a $3 young gun is a guy that's actually playing in the NHL in a uniform versus some dude that's, probably going to be bagging our groceries at Trader Joe's next week. So at least a young gun, you get a chance, but you can't pronounce their names. But No,
I'm not a hockey person at all. I've been to 2 or 3 hockey games a month. Hockey's really fun in person, but I just don't care for it.
Tonight's a wild night for hockey. Actually, right now they're doing every 15 minutes, like a delayed thing. And there's a start of a new game. They're doing like a red zone channel type of thing with the NHL.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it.
All night. Every game starts delayed. It's going on right now. There's going to be hockey all night. That's
pretty cool. Insane. And for reference, today's Tuesday, the 24th. This comes out tomorrow, the 25th. It is a little bit later. It's just scheduling. That's cool, though. I mean, NFL Red Zone has changed how I watch sports in general. Because obviously I have a pea brain and I can't pay attention to commercials, and how dare I? But no, Red Zone has changed how I watch sports. I don't think the NBA has an equivalent. I'm sure they'll try it at some point. That's a little tougher because there's so much action going on in the NBA, which is actually tipping off tonight.
That in-season tournament thing still got me I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. I feel like we're back at sports cards again. Let's have 3,000 variations of a damn rookie card. Why can't we just play an NBA season and have a 1-8 tournament like we used to have and let these teams beat the F out of each other and move on? Why do we have to throw all this shit around? It's crazy.
I am curious to see how the in-season tournament goes. Does that start this year or next year?
I think it was this year, I thought. Whatever it is, it's so much gimmicky shit.
That'll be interesting. Whether it's this year or next year, I don't recall. It's not a big deal. I'll give it a chance. I don't know what it's going to look like, so that'll be interesting. It's going to be confusing for sure. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to really get it. We do have hot takes. I got Kai's before he wasn't available today. Let me read them off real quick. I don't know if these were meant to be spicy or the order of them. I want to read them off, Brad, and then you and I can discuss. These are all Kai's, and then I'll go through mine. The Bucks and the Suns both don't make the NBA Finals. I think that's pretty reasonable, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm going to go right now. I'm going to say on the record, I'm going to go with the Warriors and the Celtics. So I'm going to go with Kai that his hot take isn't really a hot take. I think that's more like a closer to even money bet to me.
I have the Bucks and the Lakers for reference for me. That's a pretty spicy one, I would say. I don't think that's the worst, but I think that's
No.
It's not.
I think he picked a little bit of chalk there a little bit. And even the Lakers too. I mean, you can never not count LeBron as a potential to get in the finals. So,
That's what I think. Jalen Johnson wins most improved. I believe Jalen Johnson is a Hawk, so that makes complete sense.
So now that can't even be a hot take for me, because my hot take would be, who the fuck is Jalen Johnson? Sorry, Jalen. I don't know who you are.
Jalen Johnson is, in fact, a Hawk. I am not surprised by that at all. Kai probably should have done a little more research. I know who he is, only because you had NCRPAs, but fucking whatever. Sure. This is a good one. This is a very interesting take. This might be one season too early, but the Thunder making a deep playoff run. I love that. I think it's fun. I don't know if that happens yet. It might be a year down the line, but that's why it's a hot take, and I fully support that.
I think maybe Kai's going with the rhyming of the name, Kai and Shy, and maybe maybe he's going with Shay. Oh, whatever. So can't even go there. I don't know. I don't. The West is too deep.
There's Shyway Vlogs, who was shilling cards, and there's Shay who is on
Gilgreas, whatever. I mean, I know.
Alexander, yeah.
I actually like him a lot, but I actually I wouldn't be surprised if he had a step back. I mean, that team's really good too, but the West is loaded, man.
It is.
The Warriors could be a 7 seed again.
That would not be unreasonable. The West is, I think there's realistically 12 teams that can make the West.
Yeah, loaded. And then the Nets will make it at 7 games under 500 in the 7 seed. So
hopefully not. I do have a Nets hot take related. West is Pelicans can make the playoffs. Mavericks can make the playoffs. Nuggets should. Golden State should. Rockets probably won't. Clippers probably should if they're healthy. Lakers should.
Who was the first team you said? Who was the first 2 teams?
I'm just reading off the Western Conference. Pelicans.
No.
I think they could. They absolutely could.
Zion plays over under 41 games. I say over, yes, but I say he's playing under. So I have to go with my pick of under 50% of the games, and they don't make the playoffs.
Fair enough. Pelicans, maybe. Mavericks should. Nuggets should. Warriors should. Rockets probably not. Clippers should. Lakers should. 36, by the way. Timberwolves could.
You heard my pick before the show started. I say the Spurs and Wembanyama don't make the playoffs.
I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think that's crazy at all.
I mean, everyone's talking about them that way. So
that's 8 teams already. And then you have Trailblazers, Kings, Spurs, Thunder, Jazz, and Grizzlies.
Don't count. You can't out the Kings. The Kings were great last year.
No, I was naming the rest of the Western Conference. It's a fucking insanely deep conference. I don't even know where I would make my playoff standings right now, like hypothetically. It's going to be an intense time.
Denver will be the 1 again because they're just too good, like always consistent. They're the 1. Suns will probably be in the top 3 because how do you take them out? And, it doesn't matter. Warriors are going to be probably 6. Dallas will probably be 7. Probably pick your 8. Throw the Kings in there at 8.
You got to also remember, too, the playing games, too, which I actually really love.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, but it's just it's to me, I get it. I mean, I like that they're trying to make money, but man, it's too much for me. It's just too much. Hockey still straight up. Play the series, beat the shit out of each other. And again, I keep saying it. Playoff hockey, I love playoff baseball, and I don't watch any playoff during the regular season. I love playoff baseball. But you can be the most casual sports fan or non-sports fan. If you turn on playoff hockey called by a decent announcer, you will not ever want to stop watching playoff hockey. It is intense. You can feel it through the TV.
I have loved every hockey game I ever went to. The last one I went to was when I went to Nashville for a show. I went to a Predators game. No, it was fun. It was but
that's not it. Go to a Rangers game in the Garden when they're playing the Bruins and they're playing the Flyers. They're playing.
I'm sure it's intense.
I don't care. Go to that game. You're gonna walk out and you're gonna say, "I love ice hockey." There's no way you can't go to it.
But once again, I would only watch hockey games in person. Baseball I can watch obviously on TV whenever. Football's really fun to go to in person, but it is such a fucking bitch. It is so annoying to go home after.
I used to have season tickets for the Jets for years. Section 304, row 3. Before they did the stadium, I didn't take my PSLs, and you know what? I had been to 1 game since, and I'll never go back. It's
a lot.
And especially now when I can have a TV owned, set up with speakers, and probably have the best food you could think of, hot, shown up at my doorstep, and I can do it in my pajamas. Why do I want to go to the parking lot and possibly have some drunk idiot like ram my car or beat the crap out of my friend just because they were wearing the wrong jersey? It's still crazy.
It is. I love going to football games. Ironically enough, I'm a Giants fan. I've been to the Link for more Eagle games than like Giants games by far.
I mean, they set a prison at the Eagles games back in the day.
They still have a prison there.
Do they? They still have it? There haven't been.
100%. Eagle fans are fucking the most intense people ever. I will always wear neutral colors when I go to the Link. It is, even if I hate the team, I love that passion. And it's fun. I enjoy going to those games, but I've also realized, even as a Giants fan and a Yankee fan and Nets fan, whatever, I don't care enough about my own teams anymore, especially when I have sports cards, because I want everyone who I own the cards to do well, so I benefit.
Playing fantasy football every day.
Exactly. That's kind
of
how
we're gambling. I mean, we're gambling, and in a sense, we're the house. You know, in a sense, Dave, we are the house, right? I mean, you know, you're able to buy the cards and sit a little bit, and you know, you can withstand it. So we become the house.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could love my teams more, but I actually love sports more because I like cards. I don't know. I have a weird dynamic with.
I have lost interest in college sports now because of what's happened with the money stuff. So
NILs and everything.
I don't know. Just, you know, they should have done it a long time ago and free Reggie Bush's Heisman. That's all I gotta say.
I fucking hate the NCAA for that. I agree with you.
Free Reggie Bush's Heisman, baby. Let's go. Free his Heisman.
We're gonna get that movement started right now.
And I'm a Hoosier alum, and I still love Bobby Knight. Yes.
Other two hot takes from Kai. Chet wins Rookie of the Year. That's
is that his last name? Holmgren. What's his last name?
Chet Holmgren. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, see, I knew his name.
Yeah.
He's on Oklahoma, right? He's a tall, skinny dude.
He is. He was the second overall pick last year. Broke his foot, basically. Some plantar fasciitis, maybe. I don't remember what it was. He fucked up his foot out for the entire year. Still qualifies as a rookie. I like that take, Kai. We're a little bit different on what we think, but I personally don't think Chet's going to get enough touches on the field. They're really good. He might be the fourth option, so I just don't think he's going to get the.
I wouldn't even know who to like. If you asked me to pick, I would have to I would guess. Who's going to be the Rookie of the Year. I guess LeBron James. Because I don't know anybody else to pick. I mean,
you don't buy the card. You don't buy the card, so you can choose what you can choose what to know and what not to know, which is perfectly fine. Then he has the Clippers making the Western Conference Finals. I don't agree.
The Western Conference Finals on the Clippers?
Yeah, I think that's
pretty spicy because I don't think the Clippers are going to even make the playoffs.
And you both have hot takes, and that's awesome. That's a good thing about this. Real quickly for mine, I would also remind people of my hot takes last year because we had started the podcast. Mine were wrong, obviously, which is fine. I had Ben Simmons making an All-Star game. LOL. I fucking wished. Kawhi becoming an MVP finalist. Whiffed there. I mean, he's still incredible, but just can't play. Zion playing less than 41 games. I completely nailed that. He played like 25. Kyrie retiring mid-season because fuck you. Kyrie basically gave up on the Nets and then got traded, so I'm going to call that a win because I said something stupid would happen there. Go figure. And then I had the Celtics missing the playoffs because I'm a stupid asshole who wanted some clickbait. And
I couldn't even say that on a podcast because I would be afraid of the hate mail I would get.
Dude, the podcast, we were like episode 5. I didn't care. I'm like, let me just say something stupid. People will meme it. I'm like, oh, they'll get views. I got some views out of it.
You get a lot of people that come up to you like, hey, I know you from the podcast. You get that?
Every show I get 2 or 3 people, which is awesome. So those were last year's hot takes. These are this year's. They're fine. They're not as spicy. I have my rookie of the year being Scoot Henderson. I think that's probably the smart money, honestly, because he's going to put up probably 20 plus points a game on okay efficiency because he's the only guy there.
I have no idea who that is.
He third overall pick for Portland this year. After Dame got traded, it's basically him and another guard, Shannon Sharp.
So they're gonna be at the bottom then of the West.
Probably, but like he's gonna get the keys to the offense and put a ball of
course they have to.
Most likely. I have the Nets finishing with more wins than last year. They had 45. This is just me being a homer. I just think they have a better team. They don't hate each other. It could be stupid. It's a hot take for a reason. I don't know, man. Let me fucking believe.
No, I don't know. I mean, I can give you a hot take on the Knicks. I think they'll trade Julius Randle before the trade deadline is a hot take, and I think the Knicks will be
I
better.
think you'd be happy if you moved him because
I
he just
agree.
yeah. So I think you're hoping for that.
I think the Knicks will be top 3 in the East this year, and I'm not a homer. I really don't care. I like the Knicks. I like the Nets. I don't care. I think the Knicks will be top 3, and I think Randle will be gone at the trade deadline.
So you're thinking, I imagine, Bucks, Sixers,
Celtics.
and then
I go Celtics, Bucks, and then sneak the Knicks in there.
so you're putting the Sixers at 4th or below.
Yeah, and I'm only going that. I just did that now because you said the James Harden thing, which made me trigger that. I like Embiid here, and I like the Sixers here, but I think I don't know. My hot take would be the Knicks, but if I really was going to put money on it, I don't know if I'd actually bet on it.
Yeah, I mean these are just really.
I was not a Brunson guy, and then I watched a few games last year, and you know what?
He's really good.
He's really good. And if people are buying sports cards out there, Jalen Brunson cards are super cheap.
They're actually like pretty affordable. I have a friend who
very affordable. And you know what? Hot take: Jalen Brunson starts the All-Star game in the East this year. How about that? I know it's a tough one on votes. He could. Knicks are top 3. He could, right? Hot take. Write it down. I'm going with the Knicks heavy on the hot takes, huh?
I think he was an All-Star. I'm just curious.
He was an All-Star last year, I think. I'm going to give the starter in the game, though. He's going to start.
He was actually not an All-Star last year. Okay.
I thought he was. He was an alternative? He can get added?
I checked Basketball Reference. He's not there. Yeah. So I'll give you the hot take of him being an All-Star. Let's say that. Starter is really aggressive.
Yeah, we'll go aggressive. I like him. I think the Knicks. I gotta hedge my bet with the Knicks being a 3 seed. So,
that makes sense.
If Brunson, for them to be a 3 seed, Brunson would have to be a starting All-Star caliber type player, especially if Julius Randle's on the roster. In my opinion, I know my buddy at home would argue, but I don't like Randle, and I don't like RJ Barrett.
I don't think Knicks fans like Julius Randle at all. RJ Barrett seems fine, but he's not.
I like Quentin Grimes though. Man, he hustles. I like that dude.
Yeah. I have Luka winning MVP this year because I want it to be different.
Why not?
I think eventually he'll get one. You could predict this for next 3 or 4 years, and I think he'll get one eventually. Whether it's this year, next year, whatever, he will eventually, in my opinion, get one. I'm going to just say that this year.
That class has to age out a little bit. We got to flush out the LeBrons and the Currys and that group of guys, so the next wave of MVPs can take place with him. Maybe
Yeah, well, Embiid, Jokic, Giannis.
Yeah,
those are younger.
He's next.
Yeah, I would think that. I have the Bucks winning the NBA Finals this year over the Lakers 4-2.
Barf City.
Yeah,
that's not a hot take. That's an easy pick. You're picking.
I guess. I don't know. I went more mild this year.
Would you ever actually like hard money bet against LeBron? I mean, you like him or not? I have a hard time against LeBron.
I don't think I'd ever bet against LeBron. I think him making the finals is betting for him. I just don't. I think they've run out of steam.
Yeah, I don't. I think that would be like, I would bet against that happening hard. I don't think the Lakers. They could though. I mean, the Lakers are always the Lakers. LeBron on a LeBron team, if he's healthy, and Anthony Davis is the key to that team more than LeBron.
Theoretically, he should be, but LeBron continues to put up absurd numbers, and he's entering his age 40 season. He might be 39.
Anthony Davis has an MVP type of season. Then your prediction looks hero. It's Anthony Davis, right, on that team.
LeBron is entering his age 39 season. Okay, so I was right there. Yeah, it's crazy. I think you're right about that. AD would have to be
another guy who's cheap, undervalued, cheap. Hobby slaughtered him a couple years ago, man.
Well, because he can't stay healthy. That's the issue. Here's my last one, and this is something interesting for anyone who's followed the Soul to Early podcast or me on Instagram for a while. I have talked so much shit about this player. I have been right about my talking shit because their prices have dropped. They can't stay healthy. They had a really terrible offseason. But I'm going to go and say that Zion Williamson plays his career high in games, which for me is a nuclear take because I have talked so much shit and been right every time I've said it. I'm going to do a little bit of a heel turn and say he plays more than 61 games this year, which would be a career high for him. Why do I think it?
Under.
I agree with you, but I'm going to say it as a hot take here because I enjoy being right more than anything else.
Yeah, really. That would be that would be a big right. In fact, that would be a huge right, I think.
I know. So I'm going to turn heel and say Zion plays more games than he ever has. I don't fucking know, man.
You own any Zion cards currently?
Nope.
Would you buy one?
No.
Even at 50% of comp, 60% of comp?
I'll buy all of them.
I would honestly, I wouldn't buy it. I don't.
50% comp. Get the fuck out of here! You put it on eBay. You make.
You know my problem with him is like, I don't like him. So I don't know who the hell does like him. I would only if I was listening. At 50%, you're right. How can you go wrong? But I don't know. It's
you put on eBay auctions and you worry about it later. It's like I don't fucking like this guy at all. Like I'll just buy him.
That's for sure.
Like that's come on.
Right.
That's kind of what I got. I'm excited for the season coming up. I mean, I think right now, literally, at this time, are they playing yet? Let's see. They are. Oh, they are in the first quarter. All right, cool. I didn't even realize that. So the NBA season has officially tipped off. They're in the first quarter of Lakers and Nuggets. Now the hot takes are locked in and cannot be changed.
I'm getting pictures on my phone of Kobe Bryant black refractors and
cool shit you've bought recently.
No, it's the stuff I've been buying. Like I try to explain to my friends that there's a point in your life when you have 3 college-age kids and your wife is happily married to you for such a long time. That
Same.
This is like looking at really cool cards that you might buy is more like porn because that's about all you get these days. I know it's not, it's.
Have you heard me say this before on the podcast or no?
No.
Oh, I've said that. I've literally said that going to auction houses and looking at expensive cards, like looking at too much porn. How the fuck do we have the same mind? This is not good.
Yeah, it's like porn.
You belong on this podcast.
And the guy, what happens? I tell him, I said, send me pics, and he knows. He knows. I mean, he knows what I like, and he's not even doing it to make more money because I'm gonna see him anyway. But like, you sending me at 7:54 on a Tuesday night. Kobe Bryant refractors and Tim Duncan gold die cut refractors and Alonzo Mourning Bowman's best atomic refract. What do you think I'm going to do right now? I'm excited.
You're going to check eBay and you're going to buy them all. I know you.
I'm going to buy every single one of them.
Yeah, I know you are.
Actually, already purchased.
And then you're going to go to PSA or BGS or SGC if you choose to, for whatever reason, if you want to lose money. You're a great
amount. I'm going to send our friend out on the streets to sell all the cards for me and by the way, I will say underrated partnerships in this hobby, not even if it's a financial arrangement, just to have, like we talked about relationships. If you can actually have someone you can, like a consigliere, a confidant, someone you can actually talk to that's not going to like look at you and try to make money on you or try to fuck you and steer you the wrong way. That is super important. Having someone you can trust in the hobby that can sell a card for you or hold a card for you or help you with a transaction, that trust factor does not exist in this hobby right now. And that is important. Having people like that. I would give you a stack of my cards, 100,000 worth of cards right now, and I know you would give me every dollar and every card back without fear.
Yep.
But that does not exist a lot in this hobby.
Well, trust is earned. When I was in Dallas 2 shows ago, individual crossed me, maybe 3 shows ago. It doesn't matter. Individual crossed me, known for a while, at least on Instagram, maybe not in person, but like he knew of me. He knew I was legit. He's like, hey, do you mind watching my backpack for me? Like, handed me a backpack. I'm like, yeah, no problem, man. Like, I'm happy to do it. It's like, there's $100,000 in cash in there. I'm like, why the fuck did you tell me that?
Yeah, right.
But he trusts me to watch $100,000 in cash in a backpack. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's so much part of the relationship thing. But man, you need people that you can talk to. Like you and I talk off the record and Instagram back and forth. There's a lot of banter, but I actually truly like get a lot of guidance and insight from people like yourself, and even in those little 30-second little banters that I also know too, that I can, the knowledge is key and sometimes just a conversation, but you got to have people in the hobby you can trust, man. Even if it's just to help you with stuff, people find a friend, make a hobby friend that you can trust that will not screw you. Please, everybody go do that tomorrow.
Well, don't do that tomorrow. Understand that it takes a lot of time to find.
Yes, we'll try to make a little bracelet, make friendship bracelets.
Yeah, that works too. Or get matching T-shirts like our.
Yes, it is hard to make friendships with people, but again, we say it all the time. If you raise your hand and say, "I want to be your friend," and I'm in the cards, all nerds welcome, right? So
yeah, that's exactly it.
No famous Instagramming YouTuber people though. That's not my.
Yeah, camera crews. You have to pay extra to be part of the crew, and I do take PayPal, Venmo, political bribes, and of course, get out of jail free cards. I will need plenty of those. Brad, anything else you want to touch on? Any last thoughts before we wrap up, or no?
I'm just, I feel so blessed, and I feel like I should do like a deadpan hearing maybe for Kai a little bit, but I can't do deadpan. I can't really do it.
No, be nice to Kai. Come
I
on.
I actually never met Kai before. I've only seen him on the podcast. I've never met him in person. Uh, Kai, I think, is your alter ego at times. Like, it's great. I like that. Like, you are more like me, and Kai's like very calming.
Mellow. Kai is super mellow, like very, very comfortable. Like he's the voice of reason. Because when Kai is not on the podcast, I say some bad fucking things and I don't care. So Kai is like somewhat there to like make sure that I have a balancing board because I will just get into. I was writing notes down for a podcast at 4 a.m. like 2 nights ago. So I just woke up. I was like, let me think about this.
How,
It was
by the way, my Instagram gonna blow up tomorrow. I'm gonna get scorched from people for going
being
on your podcast.
reasonable and being intelligent about what you're doing. Nothing you said was bad.
Oh, no, I just never know. Like your audience is different. The other podcasts I've been in is very family friendly audience. You get a lot of like, hey, I love you. Can't wait to meet you at the car show, which is cool. But I imagine your audience is going to be maybe slightly a bit more different.
It's going to be honestly 20 to 34-year-olds who think a little more. No, that's my age demographic. Let's be real. It's 20 to 34-year-olds who think more critically about sports cards, who understand that, hey, these are people that I'd like want to get a beer with and like have a good conversation with. We're not super analytical. We're not trying to be anything we're not. And this podcast, this entire conversation would happen anyway.
Right.
Either at a card show.
I'm not a beer drinker. I prefer other legal things. So, if anyone wants to hang out with me, if you offer me a beverage, just water, Snapple's cool, but I'll always go for a walk for other things to talk about cards.
There you go. That's how we'll end the podcast. Brad, thank you so much for joining Outlaw Sports Cards. I'll make sure to put your Instagram in our description below. Same with the funny t-shirts I make. I'm sure I'll come up with more stupid ones. They'll get me in trouble, hopefully soon. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll be back next week with more, hopefully, Kai stuff, and I'll be talking about Dallas because I'll be prepping for it over the next 7 days. So, peace.